All right, we are live on Facebook at the Global Webcasting Network. Welcome, everyone. We're going to allow everyone to settle in real time here as we get organized to deliver the golden marketing rule of marketing, and it always works, as the caption says. And I will share the information with you in a way that you can relate to it. More importantly, in a way that you can apply it immediately starting today. And I promise you, when you leverage this marketing strategy that that all major corporations have been leveraging for years, you'll be in awe. But I need to tell you, it used to be extremely difficult to implement. It used to be very expensive, and it used to be very time consuming. So, but that is about to change. It has changed because of the internet, but because of recent technologies as well. So very excited to have you here. Happy holidays to all of you, and Merry Christmas. And if I don't see you until 2019, well, after this webcast, I may have another webcast in between, but if I don't, Happy New Year to all of you as well. And thank you so much for those of you who've been sharing the event through the Global Webcasting Network on Facebook, and through your sheer passion. We're getting some involvement, some engagement. I'm really excited about that. And shout out to Stéphane Renaud and Steve Peck, who have just joined us. And I expect a lot more. And if you're not live with us, that's okay too. Welcome to the video archive. You're going to gain just as much value and benefit from this information. So, but what I need to tell you, and what I promise you today, you'll be able to set everything in motion. You'll be able to set in motion the marketing strategy I'm about to share, and you'll be able to set it in motion rapidly. And remember, I said it used to be difficult, it used to be expensive, time consuming. Well, it's going to be lightning fast within a few hours and free to set it in motion. Doesn't get any better than that, does it? All right. So for those of you who are not too sure about your marketing, I think you'll be enlightened, because that's my goal, is to empower you. I like to promote, develop, inspire human potential. I do it through live webcasting. I've been doing that for a long time, and I'll tell you a little bit more about that in a moment. But and also, for those of you who stick around till the end of the video or to the end of the webcast, I'll give you access to technology, yes, that is going to allow you to set in motion what you're about to learn today. Fair enough? So, it's I've actually demonstrated a big part of the golden rule of marketing in the first, how long we've been live here? About 4 minutes. In the first 4 minutes, I've demonstrated many, many different ways. Yes, and I'll continue to do so during the webcast. And don't worry, it's okay if you didn't pick up on it, because most people don't until they become aware. So I'm going to bring it to your awareness as to what it is, why you want to use it, and how you're going to use it to impact your marketing. Yes, I promise you, it will, especially on social media, right? You want to stand above the crowd, very important. So let me, for those of you who are tuning in for the very first time right here, I'm Bobby D. I'm the founder of the Global Webcasting Network. I've been an entrepreneur for 48 years. Yes, I know. I started at age 13 too. Yes, I had a paper route. And then that paper route allowed me to learn to manage my time, deliver value, connect with people, expand my customer base, develop the discipline, I should say, to be on time, because people expected their newspaper by a certain time every day, right? So if you do the math, 48 years as an entrepreneur, I started at age 13. Do the math, then you know how youthful I really am, right? But it wasn't until, I need to tell you this, it wasn't until, let me see. It wasn't until I was 23 that I deliberately started to apply what I'm going to share today. And I really didn't know the long-term impact it would have. And fast forward to year 2002, when I took it to that next level online, the impact has been incredible. Again, I'm going to share some stories, and I promise you this, everything I'm going to share, I've experienced. I'm not regurgitating information that I've heard or read and it sounds good and I want to pass it on. Now, everything that I'm going to share, I've experienced, and I know it had a positive impact and result not only in business, but in my life. So I expect that if you apply it, hey, you're going to get a result. That I promise you. Now, are you going to get the same result as I got? Probably not, but I just hope you get a better result than I had. And the results have been quite encouraging, I need to tell you, because you'll understand that what is the most important aspect of the golden rule of marketing. But to take you back when I was 23, and here I am, I'm on the left there. I opened an audio store with my good buddy Gino, and then because I was around quality corporations and companies who had great products, by osmosis, I started to pick up on marketing strategies and ideas, but you know what? I didn't refine it for many, many years, and to tell you I've refined it, no. Did I get better at it? Absolutely. Will you get better at it as you apply it? You got to believe it, because we're in a totally evolving world, aren't we? And things are changing rapidly. But there's a fundamental truth to this golden marketing rule. It has no shelf life. That's refreshing. So pay good attention. Hope you enjoyed the information. And let's get on with it, all right? So by now, by just being observant, looking around here, have you been able to figure out what the golden rule of marketing is, right? You probably don't, right? But rest assured, I'm going to give it to you. All right, so let me give it to you. Let's cut to the chase. You came here to get quality information. Let me give it to you. So the golden rule of marketing goes like this, all right? You define who you are, and then you convey it to the marketplace. I'll say it again. You define who you are, and you convey it to the marketplace. Now, notice the verbiage. It doesn't say you define what you do. Now, hopefully that's a little nuance, a little shift that's going to help you. Now, why is this so important? Because when you define who you are based on your values, you start feeling great about yourself. See, the benefit is not at first to the marketplace. It's your benefit. You define who you are, and it lights you up. You got to think about it, and I'll give you some example in a moment to help you define it for yourself. So once you define who you are, it puts you into action mode consistently with that core set of values. Does that make good sense? Right? And it allows you to get out of bed at 1 a.m. when everyone else is sleeping because you're on fire with an idea and you want to continue to evolve. It defines you. It puts you into motion. And when you do things on purpose with passion, guess what happens? You create magnetic results. You really do. You start attracting people to your being, and then also to your businesses or to your environment, to your community, right? To your social life, and you attract like-minded people. And that's in essence what the Global Webcasting Network is all about. It is a community of people who want to share, learn, and grow. And that's what we do here. So let me give you some examples because that's broken down into two genres, I should say, right? Two disciplines, the personal and the business, talking about defining who you are. So let me give you an example from a personal standpoint. I'll just give you a few of many. For me, what defines me, and then you got to think about it and jot it on paper, something different, similar, don't matter. For me, if it ain't fun, I ain't doing it. It's sort of part of my motto. Some of you know me. I enter ventures with people. It's fun. We drive it. The day it isn't fun, and especially 3 days in a row, you just say enough is enough. Life is too short. So that is a personal value, right? It defines who I am. So what defines you? That's the question. What defines you, right? So for me, if it ain't fun, I ain't doing it. Number two, if I got to be passionate. Well, if it's fun, usually you're passionate. So passion leads to constant improvement. Believe me. Whoops, I didn't mean to put that photo up there. We'll bring that photo up a little later. That's a great story, by the way. It defines you. So passion will put you in constant motion of improvement. Because how I used to webcast when I first started in 2002 out of Costa Rica was certainly not like this, not at this level. Some of you used to attend our Saturday morning webcasts at 10 a.m. North American Eastern. We're reaching an audience in some 40 countries. We've built tremendous relationship, and I'll share some stories in a moment. So on a personal level, what defines you? Like for me, if it ain't fun, I ain't doing it. I've got to be passionate about it, because that drives me to constant, never-ending improvement. Something I learned from Tony Robbins. And number three, I just absolutely love to promote, develop, and inspire human potential. And in truth, I'm a connector of people. So that's what defines me. Notice, it defines me. And it's sort of promote, develop, inspire human potential. Well, that's fun, right? I love doing it. I'm passionate about it, and I do it a lot, and I do it in different forms. So what defines you, right? And part of all that, for me, again, I'm just giving you an example how to define yourself so it keeps driving you, and you never double guess yourself as to what you want to do and how you want to market yourself, right? Because you got to market yourself first, especially with social media. That's so important. People buy people they like and trust, right, Steve? They first of all, they got to know you, and they got to trust you, and they got to like you. So that's a very important part. Now, and a part of all of that, what I was telling you about fun, passion, constant improvement, and promoting people, this brings about an element of freedom, especially with the internet, right? Because for me, all right, part of defining what I am, I gotta have freedom. So the internet allows me to move about the cabin, and I've moved about the cabin on planet Earth 3 times in 23, 24 years. I lived in Canada, born and raised there, moved to Florida, worked out of there for 10 years, pre-internet pretty much. Costa Rica was all the beginning of my journey on the internet, and then in Brazil here for the past 6 years already. Time flies, again, when you're having fun. Now, it wasn't always fun when I didn't have the internet. We'll get back to that some other time. So freedom, so that's what defines me. Now, on the business side of things, what defines me, right? Well, it's important. I produce studio quality webcasts on Facebook. Not exclusive to Facebook, but I like to use the Facebook platform because it integrates very well with what I do. So, and again, for what purpose? Well, to connect like-minded people, to promote, develop, and inspire entrepreneurs and help them acquire new clients. See how it all works together when you define who you are? It leads to what you do, and it all works together. It's all seamless, I guess, right? So I'm a connector of people. I promote, develop, inspire human potential, and I produce studio quality webcasts on Facebook to bridge it all together to help people like you, the entrepreneur, the solopreneur who needs so much help. And that's the reason for this topic conversation today about the golden rule of marketing, so you know. Because a lot of people have been reaching out to me the past year and a half since I got back on my webcasting saddle after 3.5-year sabbatical, and have asked me if we could do webcasts together, but they were missing the starting point, the golden rule of marketing, the starting point, and I'll show you exactly what that is. They were missing. So I said, well, yeah, with all great intention, we can do some webcasts together late 2018 and 2019, but you send me something that I need, and they didn't have it. So I said, hang on a minute. Like Stephen Covey used to say, first things first, right? So first things first. This is going to be very important to you to understand why this topic conversation today, all right? So what you always got to remember as well is that who you are, what you do, right, has to create simultaneously an emotion, right? Who you are, what you do. You got to bridge that to your actions and with a symbol that people will remember, and most important of all, that people will get emotionally involved with, right? Very important. And I'm going to demonstrate that to you in a moment. So the question is, what is the golden rule of marketing? Part 1, so to speak. And I'm going to tell you that all Fortune 500, Fortune 100, Fortune 500, Fortune 1000, all quality corporation, all quality entrepreneurs, all quality solopreneurs, sport teams, top recording artists all do this, right? They all do this, right? Are you getting it? They transfer who they are and what they do into a symbol that people will ultimately emotionally be connected to. The golden rule of marketing. It's called branding. You brand yourself through images and symbols, right? So, and some of us relate to that as a logo, right? That's a logo. That's the logo of the Global Webcasting Network, right? So ultimately, as I'm venturing into more energy, more webcasting, the association of that logo in your mind, if I do everything right, and I plan to, will be one of two things. Great quality content. I'm meeting great people there. And, oh yes, and he does deliver on his promise of studio quality webcast from his home studio. Are you with me? So that symbol has to be bridged to your actions. So it's with repetition and repetition. So the question is, do you have a logo? Do you have a visual representation of what your company is all about, and if how unique are you in your doing, in your actions? And that logo has to have high impact. When I developed that logo, and I'll tell you more about it in a moment, compared to the good old days, it was very rapid. Within a few hours, it was done. It was extremely inexpensive compared to the old days, and it wasn't time consuming. But I had defined who I was first, and then how I would bring that into action, into motion, and then the logo was created. So again, I'm going to help you get there today. And again, why I created this webinar is for you to understand that you can leverage these webinars. We'll talk about that a little later. And so I want to show you a bunch of logos. Now this is the one my latest logo, and you'll see it all over the place. You'll see it all over the internet, right? You'll see it in the studio, right? You'll see it on my coffee cup, right? Okay, I want to define my energy, right? Through that logo. I want you to remember it. So when you see, for example, someone who appears on the Global Webcasting Network, and that, or vice versa, you appear, and people see the logo, I want them to associate that, oh, I should go to that webinar because the Global Webcasting Network with Bobby D always delivers great content via great personalities. And so I want you to experience it today for the first time, right? Most of you are here for the first time. So I want to show you other logos I've created over the years now, and I'm going to tell you some stories pre-internet and during the internet and what is done. So these are all logos I've created for myself, and then I had the audio consultant that I wanted to show you, and I did, right? My audio business. See, AC, the audio consultant, we had our logos way back then, right? But the one I want to bring your attention to is this one here, TAPS, Total Achievement Plus System. Now, created this pre-internet, so you know, back in 1994. Now, and it cost a lot of money then, believe me. We had to create the system, the planner. It was an effective thinking course that I would conduct live in a hotel room. It would incorporate universal laws. It would incorporate sound choice management. And for the direct sales industry, the MLM industry, it would incorporate a 7-step leadership development process. And we were very successful with it. Did that live in hotel rooms all over North America for, oh my goodness, 6 years, about 4 years. In 1998, I decided no more. I was tired of traveling, and I was expanding my family and whatnot. But to tell the story, how impactful, right? Your actions of today, creating a logo, the long-term implication of it, I'm going to share a story. And again, it was very expensive. It cost us a solid 5-figure to create that back in 1994. But let me share the story here. And the last live seminar I conducted in a hotel room in Fort Lauderdale was July 11th, 1998 for ownership, management, and leadership group of direct sales company, health nutrition company. And you'll see the tall guy in the white in the middle. He's standing on a chair actually, but to his left, or to the left of him with the red arrow is my, he's a good buddy now, but I just met him the night before, Stefan Renault. And I'll tell you the story in a moment. and the guy with the black suit, well, that's yours truly, rebranding myself. I'll tell you that story a little later, how I rebranded myself on the internet. Yes, plenty of hair. But my point to this is that 20 years later, and just yesterday, I was in conversation with Stefan, and he had told me recently that he had kept his TAPS program because it had a monumental impact on his life. So I said, hey, would you take a photo of it? And because I want to share that in the webcast tomorrow. So webcast today now. See, notice the logo, all right? See the logo? Why did he keep this for 20 years? It goes back to the golden rule of marketing. See, our actions and who we were and what we did created an emotional connection between him and us in our product. Otherwise, he would have trashed that a long time ago. Now, why is he emotionally involved with that? Well, I'll bring him on a webinar real soon because there's a whole lot more to the story of our friendship and business venture where we generated millions of dollars on the internet, paid hundreds of thousands of commissions to people. We've had a blast. So my point to the story is when you apply the golden rule of marketing, it's not quantity over quality. Through that energy, that emotional connection with Stefan and what he does today and what he's going to be doing in the future, there's longevity. And just to give you an idea, when I decided to go back on my webcasting saddle, let me see, that was, I made the announcement to him December of 2016, so you know. And he sprinkled the magic dust. He did something that I was unaware of because I told him December 2016, I said, hey, June, I'm going back on the webcasting circuit. I'm going to build a brand. I'm going to help people through that brand. And he went about his business and created tremendous amount of exposure for me. Now, and my story was network on, I forget how many, Stefan, you may remember the numbers, several hundred media sites, including the big boys, ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox. But I'm going to tell you this, he could not have done this and create all that energy for me if it wasn't for the logo that I had. You see the logo on the right. So by implementing that logo in the story in a press release, it brought a lot of credibility. See, a logo, once you define who you are and what you do and you transmit that into a logo, it brings a lot of credibility. Excuse me, I need to cough. All right, I'm just not used to talking so much so fast. All right, makes sense so far. All right, so we're going to bring Stefan in a seminar early year to expose his magic to you. But first things first, right? Let's continue with the importance of a logo. So I want to shatter the myth that it's expensive, that it's difficult to do, because I'm not a graphic designer, so you know. And by the way, remember that TAPS logo that I shared with you from 1994? It was a 5-figure. I had to borrow the money. I wasn't made of money. I had to borrow the money. When you believe in your dreams, you invest in yourself big time. All right? A little shout out going out to James. Sammy, welcome, James. And, Kenny S. Cool. And Kenny, welcome as well. All right, so people dripping in that I've not met before. So look forward to meeting the new viewers, and especially when you interact. By the way, feel free to share the live webcast. You can do that. You can share if you're enjoying the information. You just have to click on the share button, right? It's that simple. Just clear the share button and put a little note and say, hey, I'm watching this live webcast with this dude in Brazil, and he's offering some good insights about marketing. And so let's continue. I want to shatter the myth because with the technology you're going to receive at the end of this webcast, at the end of the video that you're watching, if you're watching the archive, it eliminates that. First of all, it's click, 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 answer a few questions. It's free to create. and it takes very little time to implement. Again, I was able to create my brand, my logo here, right, in less than 2 hours. And of course, I refined it over a period of a few days, and I shared it with people, and you'll be able to do that as well to get input to fine tune it. And if you look at the very top, when incorporated with the banner, it's the Global Webcasting Network. It reflects what I want it to reflect, and I'll leave it at that for now. I can always explain it some other time. All right. So in conclusion to this webcast, because I want to keep it short, this is a holiday time. I want to keep it under 45 minutes. I think we're doing well with that. What I want to do is I want to share a couple of stories, and I've already shared the one about Stefan and whatnot, but I want to share another one, right? The connection, the emotional connection with people. It's everything, right? Especially if you're on social media. If you're on social media and you plan to be hiding, doing webinars and hide behind PowerPoint presentation. Yeah, some people do that and they do it effectively. It's not my style. You know, people like to do business with people they know and they can feel. And of course, I'd like to connect with you as well in a one-on-one video call and see how we can, do some magic with you in 2019, right? New year already coming up. And so let me share another story, very, very important story, because this was pre-internet, and that's where I really sort of got it. So if you look at there's 5 logos there, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you look at the magneticretreat.com, the center one, sort of the banner, that's when I was in Costa Rica. And that logo with the little guy landing on that lit dot, which is Costa Rica in Central America, was a spin-off from the Magnetic Freedom Global Community, which Stefan and I had created, a very successful community. Only technology disappearing caused us to have to close it down. Third-party software, after a decade, decided, hey, we're no longer providing the software, so our community vanished. But we built relationships that still hold true to this day, all over the world in multiple countries. But what we did as a spin-off of having an online community every Saturday morning, 10 a.m. North American Eastern, having special guests, conducting webinars, we decided to launch a retreat in Costa Rica. In fact, we did 3 under the brand of Magnetic Freedom, and I did another one under the brand of celebrityretreats.com way back with recording artists, and we'd bring their fans in. But let me tell you why the logo was so important and what it accomplished, and I got it then, and hopefully your light bulb will go on. I want you to think about this. We had an online community, and 99% of the people had never met each other. I mean, and this was before doing the online webcast, before we could turn on cameras. We had to put photos of ourselves in those days and turn on good quality audio through good microphones. And I was using the same microphone way back. Quality, but people didn't know each other. We weren't getting this kind of connection, if you follow my drift. Now, 50 of them decide they're coming to the retreat in Costa Rica, and they're investing like $3,500 to $5,000 plus their airline tickets, and an airline ticket from the Philippines or Australia or even the Middle East or Europe is not cheap, right? And they were going to a country where they didn't even speak the native language. They had never been there. Can you imagine the level of discomfort? And again, I'm a little hoarse, so hang on. I'll tell you the rest of the story. So they have apprehension, of course. They're going to land in an airport. They don't know the language. They don't know how to navigate. But let me tell you how the logo created a sense of comfort. We told them, when you land at the airport, there'll be someone in the lineup waiting for you outside the gate with a banner with the logo, so you'll be able to identify from the crazy crowd at such an airport, especially in Costa Rica. And if you choose to exit the gate and you're looking for the minivan that's picking you up, there's hundreds and hundreds of minivans circulating around the airport. Just spot the one that has the Magnetic Retreat logo on the van. So you see, we did the work online. We built reputation. We built value. We built friendship. but the logo created the bridge to that zone of comfort, so they didn't hesitate to come to Costa Rica in a foreign country where maybe without doing all these little things, they probably would have said, well, I like the idea, but I think I'm going to pass. So comfort, again, the symbol is a bridge to your values, to your actions, where people get emotionally involved with the idea. All right? Does that make good sense? I hope so, because it does for me, because it works. And I'm going to ask you to sort of implement that, all right? So, especially if you're going to be working in social media, right? We all know the power of video. We all know if you don't know the power of videos yet, we'll talk a little bit more about that on some other programming that I'm involved with. But also the live streaming is so dynamic. It's a whole lot more dynamic in keeping people's attention. In fact, live streaming, the reports from IBM, they've done the survey, they say people remain 4 times engaged. They remain engaged longer by a factor of 4 versus watching a pre-recorded video. Now, obviously, if we can, create the webcast in a format where you feel like, hey, you're still watching live, right? Just because you're watching right now. Is it live or is it recorded? Hopefully, you don't know the difference. But certainly for the people engaging, right? Giving comments. Steve Peck. Well, there's a comment. He says, I got it. You're talking about the logo, right? It pulls all your efforts together. Yeah, Steve Peck from Harness the Web, right? And we've done some webcasts together, and we're probably going to do more in 2019. So very good, Steve. Good point, good comment. And so the last thought before I give you what you came for, and I hope this makes good sense to you so far, right? About the necessity, right? The necessity for you to transmit your values and your action into a symbol that people will enjoy and recognize through the big clutter. And there's a lot of clutter, right, in the real world and on the internet, isn't there? So hopefully when they see your brand, when they see your logo that you're going to create. Now, if you already have one, you may want to enhance it. You may want to give it a facelift. And speaking of facelift, there's many different ways for you to rebrand yourself. Let me share a funny story of what happened. Then I'll give you the link for, that you can start applying the golden rule of marketing, create your symbol. But I was conducting with my good buddy Stefan Renault, who was behind the scenes in Magnetic Thinking Corporation for nearly a decade, these live webcasts, right? And people couldn't really see me, but as you can see in the photo earlier, I had plenty of hair. And in late 2009, I decided I would let go of the personal development industry and follow my passion to promote music. And I said to myself, what could I do? So I was thinking about all that. But one day, I'm conducting a personal development webcast Saturday morning, 10 a.m. North American Eastern out of Costa Rica. And it's extremely hot there. And I'm wearing this headset and I got lots of hair. And I said, hang on a minute. I got 1 hour before the webcast. I'm going to do something drastic. Sometimes you do something drastic to change who you are so you can start doing things differently. This is what I did. I went to the bathroom. I took out the clipper and I shaved my head. Now, in truth, nobody really saw that. I really did it for my headset would have traction instead of sliding all over my head. But after the webcast, this is the funny part. My 2 young kids at the time, I walk out of my home studio. I walk in the living room. They're both there. They're playing. They look at me and they go, ah! So loud. My wife had a travel business, my ex-wife, my wife, but ex now. At the other end of the condo, she heard the kids screaming. She comes out, she looks at me, she goes, ah! So what did you do? I said, well, I was tired of this nonsense. I got to rebrand myself anyways. And I think I'm now built for speed and I'm going for it. And in part of the shaved head in the music industry, which I started June 2010. I rebranded myself through promotethemusic.com, which is still alive and well on Facebook, so you know. And on all my webcasts, I would have a red shirt, you see. So it's not just a symbol, it's what you can do to yourself. Now, I'm not asking you, especially ladies, to shave your head, but you get my point. Do something different so people notice a change and they see renewed energy. And that's what working on your value, defining your values, right? Bridging that to maybe, if you don't have a logo already, well, that's easy. You'll be given the link in a moment. But if you already have a logo and you want to fine tune it, maybe you play with that and see the outcome and see where the energy leads you to. Because once you redefine your values, maybe your old logo no longer applies. I don't know. All right. But I'm really chatting with, I'm addressing the solopreneur mostly who really don't have a logo and they want to engage into live webcasting. And I really can't do what I do for you in branding yourself without a quality logo. So without further ado, let me give you the link, right? How many of you want the link and the technology? And it's absolutely free to create an unlimited amount of logo. The only time you pay for it, which is a nominal, tiny little fee, and I forget the fee that I paid, but you get to create your logo and in various different ways for different formats. It's all automatic, and use the application for absolutely free. So you go to you just in your browser. Now don't disconnect from the webcast, but jot it down. Logo.theglobalwebcastingnetwork.com. Logo.theglobalwebcastingnetwork.com. That'll lead you to the application. You start using it, and I was able to produce my logo in a couple of hours. So it's not expensive anymore. It's very fast, not time consuming. Just think of the old days. We had to FedEx packages from Montreal to Florida, and with graphic designers, even online, you go back and forth. It's so time consuming. This cuts out all the nonsense. All right, logo.theglobalwebcastingnetwork.com, valuable tool that allowed me to create this logo that is branding what we're doing today and what we're doing in future seminars. All right, hope you enjoyed that. All right, I want to leave you with a final thought. And hey, I hope you received value today in the information that I provided, and so much more coming, because in the next webinar I'm going to talk about how you take your logo and get involved in webcasting with us. And again, we'll eliminate the myth that it's difficult and it's time consuming, because if you can turn on your webcam, right, you can do exactly what I'm doing right now with my good buddy H. John Mejia, corporate executive of many major corporations. We're tooling up for, in fact, we've been recording, it's not going to be live, Business Zone Agency show for entrepreneurs. But notice, again, because he's got a great logo, we're able to do things that we can't do for branding purpose. So again, hopefully you get the vision. All right, so I'll leave you with a final thought for today. All right, especially the solopreneurs, because it's not an easy world, right? We're by ourselves behind our computer. You know, get so good. Steve Martin, great quote. Be so good that they can't ignore you, right? Be so good that they can't ignore you. And that starts with your value system, what you're all about, and how you naturally just do it day in and day out, and let people notice, right? And let people define if they want to or decide if they want to associate with you. So again, your values, what do you stand for? That leads to your actions. Deliver value. And by the way, let me add another little final nugget. In all of that, when you define your values, you bridge it to your actions, you've got to be able to help people solve problems. In my case, I help people. I eliminate the expense. Nobody has to purchase this kind of system and technology to webcast professionally, to brand themselves and reach people and reach their target audience. So I eliminate all the technical difficulties associated with professional webcasting. You see, you can webcast with a smartphone, but if you want to do it at the level we've been doing it today, that's a different game, but it's a lot easier, and we'll talk about that in the next webcast. But first things first, definitely go back to logo.theglobalwebcastingnetwork.com. Start developing your image that represents you and also what you do, of course, right? So, hey, listen, tell you what, the video archive will be available at the Global Webcasting Network on Facebook, and also that's the globalwebcastingnetwork.com. The domain just redirects to the community page. Hey, if you enjoyed the information, you appreciate what we bring to the marketplace, hey, share it with at least one friend who could benefit. And what I will do is I will see you again real soon. Be on the lookout for the announcement. Like our page, you'll be in tune with all the announcements. I plan to go one more webcast this year, but I can't promise it. But be on the lookout for the updates on our page at the Global Webcasting Network on Facebook and or globalwebcastingnetwork.com. I'm Bobby D. Hopefully you'll interact with us in our community. We'd like to know, I'd like to know, all the members would like to know, what did you gain? What was the one insight you gained from this webcast, right? The golden rules of marketing that, and let me move that over a little bit. See, we can move things in real time. What was the main insight you received from this webcast that's going to help you? Love to know about it. Share with people. Their light bulbs may go on, and feel free to share the webcast as well. All right, until next time, again, happy holidays, happy new year, and we will see you real soon right here at the Global Webcasting Network. Bobby D here. I'm signing off. Thanks for viewing.